What's up, boys? Welcome back to another video. I have been trying to play like Mario in TvT, and I did it in a tournament a few days ago against Sol and also against Milky Cow. And when I tried to play like Mario from the POV analysis, if you guys remember, Mario against Innovation, I tried some adaptations to his build, and I wanted to share with you what I guys managed to do here. So if you guys remember, basically what Mario did, he would play Mine Drop or just a Mine Opener in general every game. And then he would go into that very slow passive macro game with the Ravens and the Bio and whatnot. But I decided to try and adapt the build to mech. I think you guys might like that as well. So I'm going to be playing basically Mario's opener but into mech here, because I still like to play mech sometimes. This game was from a tournament, and I actually won twice with this builder going into mech. Obviously I'm going to be uploading the replay in the description as well if you guys want to check it out a bit more slowly. So this build's going to be barracks first and then double gas afterwards. 16, 16, 17. You guys may remember that from the Mario video as well, of course. Maybe I'll link that too, but I have a feeling I won't remember that. So if you guys want it, maybe just look for it, or I hope I have the amazing presence of mind to actually link you guys it myself. So with this build, I also want to give you some scouting tips, by the way. I think when I analyzed the Mario Innovation VOD, I didn't actually try it myself yet. But now I do have some more intel on how to scout and whatnot. So with this build, I'm still going to scout at 17. Even though you're doing a double cast build, your factory is going to be slightly delayed. So if it's Proxy Reaper, you still want to like actually respond if that's what's happening. So I'm still going to scout at 17. On a small map, you can actually delay the CC by a little bit. As you can see with the money here, on this map, it was just on time. But on a longer map, you may not be on time. But if you play on a smaller map, let's say Submarine, maybe Light Shade, stuff like that, you should be able to delay the CC for a bit as well if it's Reaper Expand. So now it's Reaper Expand and there's nothing much to worry about. Now, what if it is not a Reaper Expand? What if it's double gas? Because basically what you're going to do is we're going to have 3 units, then we're going to go over to making a mine and then a mine drop. And I've had some people ask me what happens if you get attacked by like a one-on-one kind of attack, like 4 Reapers, 4 Hellions, Medevac, or Liberator. So what you do with this SCV is you scout. Now it could be a double gas the way you're doing it, which means barracks first. In that case, the factory is going to be kind of late like this. So if you notice that, if you notice they have a quick wall off, that's a big tell as well. If they have a quick wall off, it means they're probably doing the same build as you with the barracks first. And in that case, you don't really have anything to worry about. If it looks like a normal double glass, so the factory is faster, what you're gonna do is basically the same as you do against the Reaper Expand. You're gonna send the Reaper across, and you're gonna use the SCV plus the Reaper to scout. The way you determine if it's actually a 1-base opener, a 1-on-1, is by the CC timing. So if you play against a double gas, the CC should always be down by pretty much by 230. Maybe if someone messes their build up a bit, forgets to cut off gas, let's account for some mistakes, it could be like 235. But normally, yeah, if they play double gas, they're only going to have 1 Reaper, by the way. If they play double gas, they won't have a Marine. Like, it doesn't fit in the builder. They'll still be producing a Reaper. And you can get up on here, put some damage done. And then at this point, as you can see here, the CC should already be down if it's my build order. Right now it's a little bit late because I'm microing here. And if it's a double gas, the SCV should already be posing here. Maybe the CC is already down too, but you're going to be able to scout that. And if the CC goes down at 230, you have nothing to worry about anymore. But if there's no command sender, then you're going to have to adapt your builder to deal with a 1-1-1 kind of attack. So let me show you guys how that works. So with this build, you go 2 Reapers, and the Hellion instantly reactor after it's done, and then the starport. I like to attack with these 2 Reapers. If you think it's too risky, you don't have to. Like, it's perfectly fine to just keep it at home, but I like to pressure a bit. So here's where you would adapt normally with this build order. You're gonna make a Widow Mine as soon as you have the money. There you go. But if you know that it's a 1-on-1 on 1 base, then it's better to actually make a tech lab here and go straight for the tank. And there you go for tank, fighting, marine, and that's going to keep you 100% safe. So remember, against anything that's not a 1-on-1 on 1 base, you're going to do it exactly like this. You're going to have 3 units, Widow Mine, Marines follow up, make a medevac, right? But if it is a 1-on-1 on 1 base, you're going to make a tech lab here, get tank Viking, and that way you're gonna be safe. Because I know TvT early game can be quite complicated, so right now I may have repeated myself a lot. But it is quite important, especially because it's so difficult, so I just want to have it clear how to scout and do the early game with this build order, right? Then we're just gonna go into that mine drop. I actually started... I didn't like this build so much before, but now I understand it. I really love it, by the way. It's like... I don't know, it's such a nice pressure that... If it doesn't do that much, it doesn't feel so bad. But sometimes you just win the game with it. I don't know, it just feels really nice. Now, I do have to say... This build is actually a lot stronger... against double gas than Reaper Expand, I think. Because a strong thing of this build order is that if you play double gas, you have the same amount of SCVs, right? As you can see here, I'm a few SCVs down. I think he probably could have been one SCV up more. Maybe he forgot one because he played Reaper Expand. So if I kill 4 or 5 SCVs here for this drop, I'm not as far ahead as I would be against a double gas. Because a double gas would have more units, but less SCVs. And the point of this drop is usually to just kind of suicide and get a lot of damage done. So if you don't want to do this build every game, if you're more a kind of guy that likes to switch it up, then I would recommend doing it against double gas and not against Reaper Expand. Now, this is a little bit of tournament mind games. Normally, here I also messed up and had no boost, by the way. But normally with this build, what I notice the Koreans do, and what I do as well, is you just YOLO past the Viking or past the Cyclone. Unless they have both, I guess. Can they even have both? Yeah, they could. If it's just one Cyclone or one Viking, usually you just YOLO past, drop the mine in a mineral line, and target as many SCVs as you can. Because if you kill 5 SCVs, like I said, you're actually going to be up 5 SCVs, right? But this was a tournament, and I already did this build against him a lot on the ladder. So I kind of thought he would have more units in position. And here I was actually right. So this was the right decision. But normally, if you don't want to make the decision on the spot, the right thing to do is just to go straight for it. Boost over the Viking. Like, it actually doesn't kill your medevac that fast. Take like 6 hits. Cyclones also don't kill it that fast. And if you kill 4 or 5 SCVs for your drop, that's actually very worth it, of course. And then a follow-up at home is very simple. Raven, Cyclone. And then after that, just tanks and Ravens, pretty much. I always play 3 Ravens. I mean, I copied that straight from Mara. I made it sound like it was my own invention, but it's really not. I mean, Raven count is kind of... You can play as many Ravens as you want. I just think 3 Ravens make the game a lot easier, because if you get pushed... You know, imagine you play 2 Ravens into Vikings. Sometimes you get pushed by an early air attack and you just barely don't have enough Vikings. But if you have 3 Ravens building up energy, you can usually hold pushes by just launching a bunch of auto turrets. So that's what I like about playing 3 Ravens. So you're going to get that 3rd CC. Recently, I've been playing very safe and actually getting the 3rd CC late. If you want to play a bit greedier, if you feel like you don't need to be that safe, the way you get it faster is just by cutting a bunch of Marines. Because TvT mostly revolves around like the high-tech units, the Cyclone, the tank, the Ravens, blah, blah, blah. So you can actually afford to just skip 2 or 4 Marines to get the 3rd earlier if you want to be greedy. But at this moment in time, I was just in the mindset of being really safe. That's just how I wanted to approach my TvTs for this tournament. So I really didn't want to skip any Marines. This is an important thing, by the way. If you ever have like an harassment unit and it gets low on health, really don't feel like pressure to instantly make it happen. You can just go back and repair it. In this case, I wanted to save it for later, when there were no more defenses left. Now, one thing that's actually important when you play mech, by the way, is to get this 4th gas instantly after the 3rd CC. Here I could have gotten it a few seconds faster, but it's still pretty on time. But mech, at some point you're not going to struggle too much with gas, but like the early production, making extra factories, making reactor Vikings and stuff, that's actually pretty tough. So make sure to instantly get this 4th gas after the 3rd CC. But there's probably some builds where you even need to get it before the 3rd to make it happen, but yeah, in this case it's fine to just get it right after. This build actually flows pretty well into mech, by the way. I feel like, I don't know, some builders just don't really work with mech, but this one actually worked rather well, I have to say. So the way I'm going to use this medevac is I'm just going to AFK the hair until it's the medevac's time to shine. Also important thing, this is just a general TvT tip, not necessarily with this build, but always try to keep some map vision. Like right now, as you can see, I'm just chilling in my base, I'm just making stuff. but I 100% know I'm not getting attacked just because I have a Reaper and Heli in here. And normally you need to worry about this kind of stuff. Like, imagine you don't have these units. He could siege here, interference raging this tank, and then he has this insane position. So always make sure you have some units out. If you don't have any Reaper Hellion left, just send a Marine here. On this map, it's pretty simple. It's like, you need like one Marine on the right side and one on the left, and that's it. Like, I really doubt someone's gonna push all the way here. I mean, I guess it's possible. I usually try to cover every path with my units. But yeah, alright, so check it out. Third Raven finished. Let me go back a little bit just so you can see. Third Raven finished. And then this is the way you're going to set it up. Starport goes on the reactor. And then you make 2 extra factories. And the barracks makes a reactor for the 3rd factory. So I think this is pretty clear. This is the standard setup. And as you can see, it's going to work out very well. I can afford everything and 2 Vikings exactly, pretty much. So yeah, that's it. Just make sure. To be honest, you could do it more perfect. Because you can see I have a lot of money, so you could already have started your factories and then lift them over on the add-ons later. But I think it just, you know, it requires a bit more actions. Like maybe I will be pushing and then I suddenly have to lift this factory on the tech lab as well. So I just like to do it simple and build the factories there or the barracks there in other cases when I can. But if you want to do it perfectly, you probably can start the factories faster, but I don't know. For me, this is fine. This is an easy way to do it. Maybe it delays your factory by a few seconds if you play perfect, you know. In my opinion, it doesn't matter that much. So here you go, 3 factory. Reactor starport setup. Instantly get those gases when you land the base as well. Very important. Another important thing is to... usually you get the eBay fast. I couldn't find mine. I knew I had it. You can get your eBay pretty fast, around like 80 supply. Just in case you need to build turrets. Because with mech, the weakness of mech is really in the early game. Let me stop pausing. I feel like I'm pausing a lot again. The weakness of the mech is really in the early game. Mid to late game mech is very strong, but you're definitely vulnerable early on. So if you ever do lose control, you just feel free to build some turrets here and there just to be safe, right? So now you can see I waited so long patiently with the mine drop and went in, and it's still going to be super effective. Yeah, just a quick tip. If you boost over the turret, your medevac actually makes it just fine. Make sure to boost though, because without boost your medevac actually get disintegrated. So, but with boost you can actually go past that turret. Actually, in some way, me seeing this turret was actually a feeling of safety, because I felt like the Viking was gone, you know, and I could boost it. And it's gonna do a lot of damage. So here you can see 6 gases. Next step of this is getting the double armor, by the way, but it seems like I'm a little bit preoccupied microing this at the moment. And then I do have to add as well that this is another tournament move over here. I wasn't actually planning to move out, but since I was destroying him with the push, I figured I may as well go do some real damage. Here we go, double armor follow-up. Those could be a bit faster, but like I said, I was a bit preoccupied. Not the cleanest fight by me. Tanks are a little bit far away. Lost all my ravens, but still worth it, obviously. You can look at the SCV count as well and see I'm owning him in that regard. Beautiful. I always love it when this happens, when like... I do the same, by the way, but when they pull the mules on accident, it just feels like they're losing so much money per minute, per second, almost. But yeah, like I said, this is a little bit of a risky push. With mech, usually I would just recommend you to push with your upgrades. So like 1-1 timings, 2-2 timings. Unless you are like really far behind, then I can actually kind of see it being a good idea to push early. You get a lot of tanks, you get like 10 tanks, and then you try to, you know, brute force your way through. But normally I would just go with the upgrades. Here you go. Once again, I always think it's funny to kind of watch like the difference between my tournament games and ladder games, because there's obviously like a little bit more stress, so you get things like this, you know. Kind of looks like your guys' ladder games. Okay, just kidding, guys. I'm sure you guys are perfect. So then you get an extra few factories, and these are the turrets. These turrets are very important, by the way. I didn't make them earlier because I had complete air control, but when you lose that air control completely, and I'm talking about the lack of ravens, because obviously I still have Vikings. But yeah, you just need those to be safe, especially on a map like this. This map is actually insane for mech, by the way. The third base, this stage of the game is hard because, you know, they can surround, they can drop in the main. But once you get further, if you have like this base, it becomes almost impossible to break you. Like, this is like the best fourth base ever. Like, I don't even know what someone can do against this base. You have like, these are just Hellions running by the way, in case you were wondering what the action was. If you have like 2 siege tanks here, what's he gonna do? Like, push through this choke. He can kill the rocks, but even that doesn't make it better. You can even defend this base by sieging a tank on the ramp. And then if you get this base too, the map is just shut down. It's over. There's nothing they can do anymore. This map is actually pretty sick for a mech. Just surviving the early stage can be a little bit difficult. I'm actually making a lot of turrets here just to be safe. I think I made like 8 turrets already. 8 turrets, yeah. So the way I do it is I go up to 5 factories and then the 4th CC. You can honestly make your 4th CC first as well. Like that's something I do sometimes. It's kind of depends on the game, you know. Like if I didn't attack earlier, because what happened when I attacked is I owned a lot of stuff, but I also lost a lot of my valuable units like tanks and stuff. Imagine if I still had those tanks, I would probably have made the 4th CC before because I'm safe enough. Like if you have 12 tanks, you really don't necessarily need the 13th and 14th to defend, you know what I mean. This upgrade's insane, by the way, against Bio. Like those turrets will shoot further away, longer range, and it's really hard for drops to actually get in. Underrated upgrade, guys. The high sec auto tracking. I hope that's what it's called, else I feel a little bit embarrassed, maybe. Hellions on the map. I feel like this is the easiest part of the game for a mech. When you're set up, like realistically, I can't really die at this point. I have my turret set up. I can react to things. Oh, by the way, this is a really bad army positioning. Please don't copy this. Like, make them in between your bases instead. But like I said, this is the easier part of the game for mech. I can roam around with Blue Flame Hellions. If there's any Marines, they die. I can just run in and kill stuff. And I'm completely safe. When you get to this point as mech, you usually feel pretty good. Like, I don't feel... For me, this game was over. I don't feel in danger at all. This is great. Even if he had more supply, the game might not be over, but I would feel very good. Just because... You know, it doesn't feel like there's anything that can really happen to you. Ideally, you still have the Ravens, though. Because the Ravens can do things like interference, Doom drops. Like freeze those medevacts when they Doom drop. Here you go, Hellion Squad. Wait, this is actually... Look, I was looking at the minimap and I was like... Why do they overlap so much, the sensor towers? Like, this should have been here. I don't know why it's like all the way there. But okay, I'll forgive myself. Because I won this game. Else I wouldn't have. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you really do. You know, just running by Hellions. And the thing is, this game I was pretty far ahead, so I sat until 2-2. But like I said before, because you have to remember, even though I got good trades, I still lost this amount of units. If I didn't have that, I would have been maxed with my 1-1 timing, and I would have shoved and pushed with my 1-1. But here, you know, I felt really content just sitting here. I felt like he had to do something desperate to win, to break me at this point. And I wasn't maxed at all, so I was just chilling until my 2-2. I feel like from the moment you have 2-2, mech actually becomes kind of imba. Like, losing a fight with 2-2 on your mech, that's actually pretty tough. And with 3-3, it's even worse. Like, I don't know. Bio is usually ahead on upgrades. So when mech actually reaches the point where they get 2-2 or 3-3, I kind of feel sorry for the Bio players. Then they actually need to bring in the big boys like the Ravens and stuff. Because else they're not making anything happen. And from this point on, this kind of becomes like a very normal Terran late game, you know? It's like, you add more command centers, at some point you get more starports and stuff. But it's really nothing too crazy at this point. Here you go, so it's gonna push in. Quick tip. I messed this up a lot. This may actually be my biggest mistake with mech. Here I did it right though. Always leave some tanks at home. I would say in total you should leave at least 4. Now here I was kind of following his army, so I don't know how much of this I actually left 4 at home. 2 tanks here, 2 tanks here, or maybe 5. And then I was following his army. And you can see, even though he's killing my stuff, you can see in the supply how inefficient this is for him. Just having like a few tanks at home makes it really easy. He lost like 60 supply already. And I lost probably like 20 or something, I don't know, maybe a little bit more. And yeah, even though if you look at this, if I remove the supplies, you would think like, oh shit, he might actually be breaking you. But just, you know, having those few tanks at home makes it a little bit easier. Also, try not to base trade too much. Base raiding is okay if you have enough tanks at home. But in general, you kind of want to follow the bio army around. Because for the bio army, it's really easy to get on top of the production. Make sure that the mech player doesn't make any more units. But for a mech player to actually push in all the way, like you have the siege and it just goes pretty slow, right? So in general, don't try to do a base raid unless you're already there, of course. But yeah, if you see him attacking you, most of the time you'll just come back, follow the army. Because you have the Hellions, which are really fast, and the air control, it's actually pretty easy to catch an army. Like, it's pretty tough for a bio army to escape from mech. Especially on a map like this. Imagine if he pushes on the left side. Things might get a little bit confusing over here. And you chase his army like this. The only way he can really go is like up here. And then you can tell how trapped he already is. You can siege a few tanks here. Push the rest up. And he's already trapped. He's going to have to like desperate pick up his units. Fly around. Stuff like that. You know, it becomes very tough. So especially on good mech maps. But in general, try to kind of like follow the bio army around. Like this is basically what I'm doing right now. He's just trapped in here. Every stim kills his own units. And now I'm basically gonna... This was like 30-40 supply or something. Probably around 30 supply that I just killed for pretty much free. Like maybe I lost a Hellion or something. I don't know. And it's just because I was trapping the army, you know. Like this was won pretty much only by like army movement and stuff. And here I just have too much stuff, you know. Here I'm gonna... Unsieged things are pretty good, by the way. Like those have some real DPS. Don't underestimate those. Before you guys try it, please siege your tanks when you fight, okay? I'm just saying, they're not as bad as you think. But please siege your tanks. Oh god, I feel like one of you is gonna lose a StarCraft game because you're not sieging your tanks. But uThermal said, these things are strong. I can see it coming already, guys. I think I just lost a subscriber or 10 maybe. Feels bad, man. There you go, lovely siege tanks. Vikings are actually super important, by the way. I feel like sometimes people think, like, what are they actually contributing? But during those fights, a lot of times, like here he actually had a lot of medevacs. But a lot of times Vikings, even if you lose the fight, Vikings kill all the medevacs. Which makes sure the bio player can't really stim without doing like 1,000,000 damage to his own army. And also they can't escape or drop in your main and stuff. So a lot of times, even if you lose the fight, it's okay. Just because you have the Vikings killing the medevacs. That's why they're so important. Let me just share you guys quickly what I actually did here. So, here he actually dropped here to flank me. But I saw him drop all the way. I thought he was going to go here. So what I did in defense is I kept everything at home and I started spamming turrets around my tanks. This is the kind of defensive setup I was getting. Just in case of the base trade. Because his army was actually not so small. He had 70 supply of army still. And yeah, 70 supply of buy with medevacs can actually totally destroy your base. So yeah, this is the setup I was going for. Turrets actually built quite fast. And yeah, I just made sure to rally, siege all my tanks at home, build a lot of turrets. And then if he does drop into the main, I should be able to take it back with this big tank count, right? Just because I suddenly showed like a bunch of tanks and turrets being here, I wanted to show you guys the reasoning behind that. I can skip forward a little bit because we saw this already. Blah, blah. Right. My liberates are actually very fast. You see that? Even when I was playing this game, I was sure the Liberator would die. I was like, what the hell? How is that alive? And TvT is on the way. Like I said, this game is over pretty much, unless I would fight. No, not even if I fight on Siege, I would. No, there's no way I lose this. But when you have 3-3, personally, I feel like I should never lose the game. I think other people don't necessarily feel that way, but if I lose a game with 3-3 on my mech, I will usually consider it a throw. I will feel bad about it. And yeah. Now you can kind of see how strong mech units actually are. I wasn't even in position, but just like the few units completely destroyed his 50 supply of army. And that's gonna be it. Alright, nice game. I enjoyed watching this actually. I didn't watch it back completely before, but it was kind of pleasant to watch it back. So yeah, that's my Mind Drop Maru style but mech guide, I guess. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll make sure to upload the replay. Yeah, I was gonna do something else in the description as well. What was it? Maybe the Maru, I think it was the Maru Innovation POV analysis. I'll try, guys. I'll try. But I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to sub a like. And see you guys next time. Adios.